Good evening, everyone. I hope I am clearly audible, visible to all of you. Please tell me in the live chat section if I am available to all of you, if you can hear me. Okay. So lovely to meet you all again after a break. And this is one time when so many things are going on, right? And sometimes your law mentors also are allowed to take a small vacation. And then when I came back from the vacation, unfortunately, like in a few days' time, I also was down with COVID. So unfortunately, it kept on getting postponed. But now we are back and we are bigger this time, right? So one thing that I would request all of you is please put a message in your respective student groups that from now on every Sunday law students have to attend the Quizzard live on YouTube. Okay, the weekly current affairs class for the law students will be the same as Quizzard. So please put this message so that more and more students can join in and they can participate in this quiz. Moreover, as I was mentioning earlier, that Quizzard from now on will go bigger for all of you in the sense that every Sunday you have the opportunity to win a 1000 rupee Amazon voucher, right? So every Sunday, whenever I conduct a Quizzard, the winner of the Quizzard quiz, okay, which we call Quizzard, will be getting a 1000 rupee Amazon voucher. Okay, so that is something I hope should motivate you enough, at least apart from the fact that all things that we discuss with all of you are going to be important and relevant for your competitive exam. But other than that, keep in mind that you have a prize to win every Sunday as part of Quizzard. Okay, so a few things that I want to mention before I begin Quizzard for this week. First is that to join Quizzard, you have to use the code 8040 So whenever you want to join Quizzard, you want to join the live quiz, all you have to do is you have to go to menti.com and you have to put the code 8040 and you can be a part of the live quiz. Now all the students who will be part of the live quiz will be eligible to win the 1000 rupee Amazon voucher every Sunday. So please do not answer any questions on YouTube live. Participate on menti.com and you will be eligible, right? I have also increased the questions a little bit. So the earlier 15 questions that we used to do, as you would remember, now we'll be doing 20 questions as part of Quizzard. After every 10 questions, I will be showing you the Quizzard board. So after 10 questions, I'll show you the Quizzard board and then the final result after the 20th question, right? For every question, every student will be getting 15 seconds to answer. But keep in mind that the quicker you are, the faster you are, the more points you will be getting. And as you might have noticed in the earlier Quizzard sessions, right, that a lot of students, because they are quick, they are able to get more points. So all the Googlers here, जितने बच्चे गूगल करके आंसर देने वाले हैं 15 सेकंड में, वो समझ लेना कि यू आर मोर और लेस there is no chance of winning. ठीक है? The quicker you are, the more points you will get. And as I said, I will be showing the Quizzard board after the 10th question. So let's see who are in the top 10 students. What all current affairs and news have you come across in the last few weeks, which you could tell me in the chat section? Could you tell me in the chat section what all news did you come across? Okay. Because all the questions that I'm going to ask you is going to be from current affairs. Current affairs के अलावा तो मैं of course नहीं पूछने वाला हूँ, कुछ static GK भी पूछूंगा, but वो current affairs से related ही होगा, ठीक है? Plus, as I said, from going forward from today onwards, I will be sharing a lot of information. So whenever I take Quizzard with all of you, I do give you information with respect to the question that I'm asking you, right? Or this, I will take it to next level in the coming weeks, where we will properly discuss also that topic, so that if there is anything that I find to be important, I will be able to share those things with all of you. Okay. So have you posted that message in the respective groups that all of you are supposed to join? If you haven't, please do it so that we can start Quizzard as soon as possible. Students who have joined us little bit later, if you want to join the live quiz, you have to go to menti.com. Okay, you can see it on the screen at the top, menti.com. You can also download their app, and you have to put the code 8040 okay, and you can also participate in this live quiz. So I'm very happy that so many of you have put so many different topics, which shows me that you people are reading current affairs on a regular basis, right? Which news in the recent time did you find the most interesting? कौन सा न्यूज है जो सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग लगा पिछले एक वीक में? Can you tell me in the YouTube live section? And it can be from any field. Okay. It is for everybody. Whosoever wants to participate can participate in this quiz. Okay. So it's not, so primarily we started with law students, but other students also wish to join, they can join, not an issue. Okay. So I can see all the different topics that you people are writing. Chalo. So I think we won't waste any more time. Let's begin with this new edition of Quizzard in the new year, with some new prizes and a lot of different questions and new topics to cover. So if you are all set, should we begin? If you write a yes, I will get my signal and we'll begin with Quizzard for today. Excellent. So let's begin with today's Quizzard with the first question coming up. Let me see how many people have joined the live quiz. Excellent. Still there are a lot of students who are watching YouTube live but have not joined the live quiz. Please go to menti.com and put the code 8040 and all of you can also participate in Quizzard. To all the students who have joined later, just to inform you that there is a chance to win 1000 Amazon vouchers every Sunday if you do well in the quiz. Okay, so use that 1 week to prepare yourself well in GK and you have the chance of winning that prize. Let's begin with the first question. Which day will now be celebrated as the National Startup Day in order to spread the culture of startups in every nook and corner of the country? So recently, the Prime Minister had announced the Startup Day. How many of you can tell me the correct answer? Excellent. So I was hoping that more students will answer it correctly, but still, majority of the students got it right. Excellent work. The correct answer is 16th of January. So on 15th of January, Prime Minister was interacting with a lot of startups and had given away the startup prizes also for this year. There were 46 prizes. Which state or the startups from which state won the maximum prizes under the startup awards? Who can tell me that in the live chat section? Let's see. Which state won the maximum awards? Excellent. Very good job, Shaurya. Vinayak is also correct. Parth is correct. Very good. So we are talking about the state of Karnataka, right? And government, since for the past 3-4 years, since Startup India as a scheme was launched, has done a lot of things for this startup culture to grow in the country. Okay, and as you know, a lot of unicorns have come up in 2021 itself. Can anybody name two companies which have become unicorns in 2021. Let's see how many of you can tell me. And I hope most of you know what a unicorn is. In terms of startup culture, any company which is beyond $1 billion valuation, that company is called a unicorn. To some students who have still not joined the live quiz, please go to menti.com and put 8040994, the code at the top of the screen, and you can also participate in the live quiz. So correct. So Nika, of course. Cred, excellent. Zerodha, Lenskart, Rapido. I am talking about this year, 2021. Okay. So keep that in mind. Correct. So a lot of you do know the answer, and excellent. Keep on following these companies because a lot of questions can come from this particular area. Okay. Let's move on to the next question. Question number 2. In the recently released State of Forest Report ISFR, India's forest cover has increased by more than this much square kilometers between 2019 and 2021. This is a report which has come up a few days back. Let's see how many of you get this correct. Okay. Unfortunately, maximum got it incorrect. The correct answer is 1500 square kilometers. Okay. So for the past, I think I would say 10-15 years, the forest cover of our country is increasing. Now, the critics have also said that this is happening because a lot of plantation cover in the country, उसको भी हम consider कर रहे हैं as part of forest cover, but the actual natural forests are under depletion. So there was a sharp decrease in terms of the forest cover, the natural forest cover, but there has been an increase in terms of total forest cover, which is not necessarily natural in nature, which is grown, for example, in plantations and private forests and other things. So due to that, this 1500 square kilometer area has increased. So again, something very important, keep this in mind. Okay. Coming to the third question. Pandit Birju Maharaj, he passed away recently at the age of 83. He was a veteran what? He received Padma Vibhushan, right? A very, very known artist. What was he known for? Excellent work. So I was hoping maybe somebody will answer Odissi and all. Flute maestro and tabla, I am not sure who has answered this, but the correct answer is he belongs to one of the largest and most known family in Kathak. Okay, so both of his cousins, the elder cousins and their family has been into Kathak for a very, very long time, and that is something that Pandit Birju Maharaj is known for. So please remember his name and please remember the art form that he was a specialist in. Okay, he was a Kathak dancer. Very good job, all the people who got it correct. Coming to the fourth question. And keep in mind that every question that I cover, you have to look into these questions in much more detail when you prepare for GK. Okay. Which state has become the first smoke-free state in India? Which state is the first smoke-free state in India? Okay, very good. So the correct answer, as most of you have answered it correctly, it's Himachal Pradesh. Now the question that comes to our mind is, sir, ये smoke-free state क्या होता है? Right? Can anybody guess what does smoke-free mean in the chat section? What is your interpretation of smoke-free? Could you tell me? Let's see who can interpret it or who knows what smoke free in this context means. Uh, Shravari has said factory smoke banned. Vivek has said no industrial area. Ananya has written about using wood for cooking, pollution free or smoking free. Smoking is banned, cigarette banned. Okay. No smokers, tobacco. Okay. Sanya has talked about LPG connections, and that's the closest I can tell you somebody has been. I think Arya has also written about no fossil fuel use, but it's not fossil fuel per se, because earlier what used to happen was that a lot of households in Himachal, and of course the states all across the country, use firewood, specially, okay, coal and other things, which is what he was talking about, Arya is talking about. Those have been now replaced with LPG connections. And can you tell me uh, uh, some of the schemes of the government, both government of, mostly government of India, because I'm not sure if you can tell me about government of Himachal Pradesh, but can you tell me the name of the scheme under which LPG connections, free LPG connections were given? Very good. Tejaswini and Riddhi, excellent work. So it was called the Ujjwala Yojana. And one thing that I would want all of you to do is read about Ujjwala Yojana in detail, because if a paragraph comes on Ujjwala Yojana, then automatically you should know the background of it, how it has helped people, what has been the impact of it, right? One of the impact has been that Himachal Pradesh has been able to call itself smoke-free state. Nothing to do with cigarettes, nothing to do with ban on smoking, nothing to do with industrial. For example, somebody said कि sir industries close कर दी है, ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. Of course you can't close the industries and all, but smoke-free state. And if I tell you a little bit in detail, so there is a threshold set by the government. It says that 85% अगर ये smoke को आपने reduce कर दिया तो you can be called a smoke-free state. So which Himachal Pradesh has been able to achieve. There is a similar scheme like that of Ujjwala Yojana in the state of Himachal Pradesh also. Can anybody tell me the name of that scheme? Grihini Suvidha. Diya is correct. Very good. And there is one more scheme under which the Himachal Pradesh government and the government of India under the Ujjwala scheme has been able to make Himachal Pradesh smoke free. Okay. So very good job all the students who got it right. Coming to question number 5. Which country has built an artificial moon research facility that will enable them to simulate low gravity environments using magnetism? Now, this is to do with global superlatives in one way. Excellent. Most of you who have answered it correctly. The correct answer is China. So you might have heard about another very similar thing which China has created, which is the artificial sun. Have you heard of artificial sun? Could you tell me in the chat section about artificial sun? Right? So artificial sun recently, just I think a couple of weeks back, was able to produce temperatures 10 times that of actual sun. So it was quite an achievement. And you must be thinking, so where are we heading towards? So there are 2-3 objectives. Of course, one is that there are research objectives, right, for the scientists to understand as to how we can harness the potential of solar energy. So that is of course one. It has to do with the origin of all these bodies which are present in our galaxy and of course in all across the universe. So to understand how they function, how they behave, that was one objective. But an objective which many scientists are talking about is that with this artificial sun, a lot of energy could be produced, and that could be used when, for example, the natural sun, that sunlight is not available, and all across China and all across the world, such artificial energy could also be used. So a similar project has been undertaken with a very different purpose. Now this artificial moon research facility which China has created, the objective, as you have read in the question itself is to simulate low gravity environment. So if we establish a colony on moon, right, then we'll have to live in a low gravity environment which is present on the moon, right? So how do you adjust yourself to it? What will be the things that will be needed for us to adjust there? All of these things this artificial moon is meant for. There could be other reasons why they could have created it, but that is the prime objective. Okay, so that is something very, very important. Remember about this particular facility also. Okay, coming to question number 6. According to the report titled World Employment and Social Outlook Trends 2022 by the International Labour Organization, what will be the global unemployment in 2022? It was more or less a bombshell report by ILO because it was expected, and it was a report. The earlier report of ILO said that the employment will go down considerably, but because of the growing threats all across the world by the third wave, and subsequently, I'm not sure how many of you have heard of a term called, I think it has to do with resignations. Did anybody get a hint what I'm talking about? Can anybody tell me what is this new trend which is going on in the world? Have you heard of it? The Great Resignation. So go to Google today after the session is over and just put the term the Great Resignations. Okay, and you will come across a global trend all across the world where people are moving away from the conventional employment opportunities that they used to get. Pandemic has taught us a lot of different things. One, of course, is our family, right? That again, living with family, being close to them is something that has become a priority for many individuals all across the world. Similarly, people have understood that you need not go to offices to do your work. You can be self-employed, you can work from home, and that has also changed the way we look at employment now in this century. Okay, so a lot of things have happened. I would want all of you, because it's a very interesting phenomena that has happened after the pandemic, do research about this and you'll be surprised as to how these trends are changing all across the world. Now, why I said this was a bombshell report, because more or less a global unemployment leads to a lot of problems all across the world, right? This unemployment issue is related to so many other issues in the world, right? It has to do with sustainability of a family, it has to do with education, it has to do with so in African poorer countries where people might go from a stable job to complete chaos in a country because people don't have jobs. So it has repercussions. So 207 million people will be unemployed. That will be the level of unemployment, global unemployment. So huge numbers, but read more about it. Coming to the next question. Swastika has made a very interesting point. Great resignation is more feasible in countries like US, but in India it is unlikely since there is a lack of social security schemes. See, social security is just one way of looking at how people are thinking about their jobs. Okay, the attrition rate in Indian IT companies, okay, is at its peak currently. Okay, and don't think that these people were removed from their jobs. IT companies have benefited the most from this pandemic because everything was happening virtually. People needed software, people needed online solutions. And while I was going through some of the salient features of this report, I figured out that this trend is not limited to developed countries only. Okay, this trend is equally applicable in developing nations like us, and one of the biggest examples of that is India's IT sector. Okay, which we are proud of, right? Because Indian IT sector is something that a unique thing that India has produced over the years. But there have been a huge attrition in the IT industry, and companies are scrambling to get as many employees as they can as part of the IT structure. So it's not a trend which is limited only to developed countries, but yes, social security measures do in some way impact your decision. So that is definitely true. Okay. Coming to the next question. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has launched India Assisted Social Housing Units project in which country? So, Prime Minister of this particular country and Prime Minister Modi have announced a lot of projects in this particular country, and it is of great significance to us. Okay, mixed answers, but most of you got this correct. We are talking about Mauritius. Now, Mauritius is a country is of great significance to India for a couple of reasons. One reason being that a majority of population living in Mauritius has Indian origin. In fact, the current Prime Minister Praveen Jagannath also has Indian origin. Most of the prime ministers have had Indian origin. If you go to Mauritius, you will feel like you are at home. Okay, that is one reason that we have very close connections with Mauritius. The second big reason is that a lot of money that comes into India through FIIs or other foreign routes, a large chunk of it comes through Mauritius route. Okay, now there are some problems with it. Of course, there are advantages of it, but a lot of money comes from there. So India has undertaken certain measures to improve our relations with Mauritius. And what is basically social housing units? So low cost housing, people can take it for rent, people can buy it, because in smaller countries, no, with limited space, the cost of housing is very high. Look at Hong Kong, look at Singapore. Even smaller countries in Europe, the cost of housing is very high. So social housing units are aimed at providing cheap housing facilities to the middle class, the urban poor, and all of those. So India is doing has undertaken a lot of initiatives in Mauritius. This is just one of them. Apart from this, India has also given $100 million for a metro project in Mauritius, and there are some other things also which India has done. So please read about it, because these things, they have an impact on our country and other countries also. It is significant. Okay, coming to the next question, question number 8. In the beginning, if the questions are easy, most of you get it correct, but if it is little tricky and if it requires कि थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ना है, तो बहुत mixed answers आ रहे हैं. I hope I will get most of you getting the correct answers in future, right? Coming to the 8th question. Which country has become the first country to buy the Brahmos supersonic cruise missile system? Very easy question. I'm hoping most of you will get this correct. Right? Let's see. Very good. We are talking about the country of Philippines. Now, all these countries, no, which lie or have which are close to South China Sea, in some way or the other, they have constant tussles with the Chinese, right? Philippines being one of them, and Philippines has been very clear for the past few years of their aim of acquiring these supersonic cruise missiles, of course, was to balance the power system which is there in that entire region. Okay, and I won't be surprised that in the coming years, many other countries like Vietnam or Indonesia or other countries which have strained relationship with China will keep on buying these things. If you look at diplomacy in general, right, in the world, you will see that it's not that easy that certain countries are your friends or certain countries are your enemies. Okay, look at what happened in terms of Brahmos also. Russia and China are very close, they are coming close, right? Brahmos as a missile system was jointly produced by Russia as well as India, right? But Russia didn't object with respect to Brahmos supersonic cruise missiles being delivered to Philippines. Similarly, a huge diplomatic incident happened in India yesterday. The German naval commander, the German naval chief, was in India, and he was participating in a think tank discussion. and he made certain comments on Ukraine, Putin, Crimea, and others. He said that all Putin wants is certain respect. He's the German Navy chief. He's saying all Putin should be giving him respect. He deserves it. We know that we'll never get Crimea in future. It's gone out of our hands, which is the complete opposite position to what NATO and EU believes in, right? The result of this was that Navy chief of Germany had to resign today. Now, we are talking about a key NATO ally as powerful as a country, which is Germany. At the time when Russian forces are on the brink of a war with Ukraine, and if the war happens, you can imagine what the situation will be. At that time, you have the German Navy chief talking about not having good relations with Putin. At the same time, many smaller countries on the border, on the eastern side of Europe, like Estonia and others, they decided that they will supply certain weapons to Ukraine. Germany blocked it. Okay, so when we look at diplomacy, right, when we look at international affairs, it's never black and white. There are so many things which are happening in the background which we don't know of, but if you read about them, you will come to know so many things are happening. So many countries, they constantly change their loyalties and other things, right? So very interesting things are happening. I hope all of you are following these things on a regular basis, right? Chalo, let's go to the next question now. Coming to question number 9. Which Pacific country experienced a large volcanic eruption followed by a tsunami that flooded parts of the capital, Nuku'alofa? Which country are we talking about here? Many of you would have seen this video, a satellite video which was taken of this particular volcanic eruption which took place very close to the island nation of Tonga. Now, this is a very, very small island country, and it has been drastically impacted by this eruption and subsequent tsunami which has come out. Now, I am using this question to tell you about something far bigger. How many of you have heard of something called the Pacific Rim? Have you heard of something called Pacific Rim? And I'm not talking about the movie. Can anybody tell me in the chat section if you've heard of this? Purv has written, sir, मैंने पहली बार सुना है इन सब countries का नाम. So you will be surprised to know, Purv and all the other students, that all of these countries except Tonga, no, Seychelles, Trinidad and Tobago is one country. मैंने उसको अलग अलग कर दिया था just to confuse you, Tobago and Tonga के बीच में. All of them have very good and historical roots with India, because a lot of Indian plantation workers were taken from India to Seychelles, to Trinidad, Tobago and many other Caribbean countries and many countries in the Asia Pacific. तो आप Seychelles जाओगे तो वहाँ majority population Indian है. आप Trinidad, Tobago जाओगे वहाँ majority population जो है वो Indian है. ठीक है? So you should know about such countries, and you should know about the interesting history these countries they share with India, right? So many of you are correct. It is so Pacific Rim is the area which starts around New Zealand. Okay, so don't look at the map as a flat piece of paper. Look at it from the perspective of a globe. Okay, so if you look at that entire region which starts at New Zealand, so if you go through that entire Pacific region, including Philippines, Japan, the entire west coast of North America as well as South America, this is one of the most volatile regions in the world. It's called the Pacific Rim. Okay, the rim मतलब जो corners होते हैं Pacific Ocean के, उसको Pacific Rim बोला जाता है. It's one of the most volatile regions. 90% of the earthquakes that the world feels every year, they come in this region. More than 90% of the active volcanoes in the world are located in this region. So this is a very, very volatile region. These kinds of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are very common, but they have become a huge threat for small island nations which are located in the Pacific, including many of you. I don't know if you remember, a huge earthquake had hit New Zealand also a few years back and had led to the lives of hundreds of people there also. So it's a very volatile region. It's called Pacific Rim. Please read a little bit more about it so that if a question comes, you should be able to answer it. Okay. Coming to question number 10, and I'm happy, Purv, because the objective is that you people learn many interesting things and important things which are relevant for your exam through this quiz, and I'll be very happy if that is taken care of through this quizzes. Coming to question number 10, which company announced the acquisition of Activision Blizzard, the maker of video games like Call of Duty and Candy Crush, in a deal worth $68.7 billion, all in cash? Okay, it's a cash deal worth $68.7 billion. Easy question. The correct answer is Microsoft. Right? Excellent work. Now, let me tell you, when this deal happened, I was reading some foreign publications as to how this deal happened, and $68.7 billion is a huge amount of money, right? It's the largest deal in the history of video game makers, that too all in cash. But you'll be surprised to know that $68.7 billion worth of deal could have been actually $100 billion. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about how takeovers work, because this is a very interesting case study which most people tend to ignore because they don't know what happens in the background. Okay, so let me tell you how this deal happened and why this deal happened. Okay, so this company, Microsoft, is the maker of what kind of video games and the equipment which helps us in video games? That's the best way I could have asked you a question. Can anybody tell me, how is Microsoft into gaming? Anybody who has an answer? Have you heard of something called Xbox? Have you heard of Xbox, PlayStation? Right? Which company is the owner of Xbox? It is Microsoft. Okay, which company has produced one of the biggest games in the industry like Halo? Okay, it is Microsoft. So it's not like Microsoft was not into gaming. Then the question comes, okay, they are into gaming. They acquired a bigger gaming company like Activision Blizzard, which has bigger games like Call of Duty, Candy Crush, and others which you know more or less. To acquire such a company, they have spent $68.7 billion. It will increase their market. Okay, so 25 million new addition of players and customers is expected, which is a huge number. So that could be one reason. Now let me tell you something very interesting. So what had happened in the past few months with Activision was that there were a lot of sexual harassment complaints on Activision Blizzard. A complaint was made from California where it was said that the culture of the company promotes sexual harassment. Okay, now when that happened, of course you would understand that many lawsuits were filed against the company. The share market price started going down, and if you know a little bit about capital markets, no, big whales like Microsoft, which have a lot of money, they always look for such takeover opportunities. So Activision Blizzard, because of these lawsuits, the share price was going down. Microsoft thought that this is the best opportunity that I can have to acquire Activision Blizzard, and they took over this company in $68.7 billion cash deal. So such things happen in the background which we don't know of, but read about it. Very, very interesting. Okay, but it was not a hostile takeover. Okay, hostile takeover is very different. Hostile takeover means when the company doesn't want it. Okay, but the other company like Microsoft has convinced most of the shareholders and others that this is the best possible deal. So they go against the company and acquire it. So it was not like that. It was just like it was a good opportunity of a takeover with Microsoft, and they took that opportunity. They ideally they could have spent $100 billion also, but they got it for 68.7 billion, which is a deal for them. Okay, so understand it that way. Okay, so 10 questions are done. Let's see who is at the top right now. And somehow it's not a surprise. So Sachetan has been doing incredibly well in these quizzes in the past, and he is also at the top right now. So very good work, Sachetan. But I would want more people to read and to do well in these quizzes. I want every Sunday that a new person is crowned Quizzard. Okay, so let's see if anybody is able to beat Sachetan. Riddhi is very close. So let's see. Coming to 11th question. Definition of rape is given under which section of the Indian Penal Code? Which section of the Indian Penal Code defines or talks about rape? Let's see how many of you remember your legal aptitude classes. Very good. It is section 375. Why do you think I asked you a question on section 375 right now? Any particular reason that you can think of why I asked this question to you? Very good. Shaurya is correct. Because of the ongoing debate which is going on about marital rape, right? So if you read section 375, it explicitly says that marital rape is not to be considered rape for the purposes of section 375. So there is an ongoing debate going on in the country, which has started from Delhi High Court and Supreme Court, because some cases are going on there, whether it should be considered a crime under section 375 or not. Okay, so read a little bit more about it, understand the point of view from both the sides. If a question comes, because such questions do come in CLAT exam, you should be able to answer them. Okay, so I am leaving it at that. I don't want to discuss it because again I will have to look into the perspective from both the sides. So it's better that you research, look into both the sides. If you don't understand something, I will do a separate video on what the issue is all about. Okay, but very good, most of you got this correct. Okay, coming to question number 12. Roberta Metsola is the youngest president of which multilateral institution? Roberta Metsola is the youngest president of which multilateral organization? Very good. Most of you got this correct, but very few people answered this question somehow. There are so many people who are live on YouTube, but काफी कम है जो live participate कर रहे हैं. So my humble request is go to Menti and participate in the live quiz. That you will enjoy more. Okay. So interesting. Roberta Metsola, apart from the fact that she's the youngest, and somebody wrote 48 years, Shaurya has written, right? Now the interesting thing here is she comes from a country called Malta. Have you heard of this country by any chance? Have you heard of this country? She is a Maltese politician. Now Malta is one of the smallest countries in the world. Okay, it's the 10th smallest country in the world. You can just imagine how small it is. It's a small island country located between Italy and Spain in that region. Okay, this particular politician from there, she was part of the European Parliament, and now she has been made the head of the European Parliament. She is the youngest president at the age of 48 to become the president. So just imagine. And Malta is the smallest country to be part of European Union also. So she comes from that country. So look into Malta also. And of course, as most of you are correct, this happened. So she became the president because the ex-president Sassoli, he had passed away. Again, something that you can read about. Okay, so remember her name for two reasons. Okay. Coming to the next question, question number 13. Which country proposed P3, which is pro planet people movement, during the World Economic Forum Davos agenda of 2022? As you know, the World Economic Forum, the yearly meetings are going on right now. Which country proposed P3? Okay. I have never seen in the history of Quizzard a question and answer so equally divided. But even out of those answers, the correct answer is India. So if you have gone above the news which was with respect to Davos, which is कि प्राइम मिनिस्टर का टेलीप्रॉम्प्टर नहीं चल रहा है या बाकी चीज़ें नहीं चल रही है, उस न्यूज़ के थोड़ा बियॉन्ड जाके अगर आप प्राइम मिनिस्टर का स्पीच को थोड़ा एनालाइज करोगे तो यू विल कम अक्रॉस many important things that he talked about. And as you all know, it was nothing to do with teleprompter, because I was listening to it live. Some things had happened in Davos, and because of that, the speech had to be stopped. But one thing that he talked about as part of the global issues that are being discussed in World Economic Forum at Davos, one of the issue, of course, is climate change, right? And Indian Prime Minister said that we should have this P3 movement which should start, which essentially means that people in the world, we are so used to things which are of temporary use to us that has led to a lot of pollution. So we need to create this movement all across the world that we should look towards such products, such technology where the waste is to the minimal and recycling is done on regular basis. And he talked about many other things, but that is what essentially pro planet people movement is all about. So read a little bit about it. If Indian Prime Minister says something, it automatically becomes important for our exams. Okay, so please look into it. Okay. Coming to the next question, question number 14. Senior bureaucrat Vikram Dev Dutt is the new chairman and managing director of which organization? He is the new chairman and managing director of which organization? Very good. So most of you knew about it. He is the new chairman and managing director of Air India. Now Vikram Dev Dutt supposedly will also be the last CMD of Air India, because originally it was planned that in 2021 the company will be given to Tatas because they had bid the highest amount for Air India, but unfortunately that has been postponed now. It is supposed to happen in January 2022 as per the latest reports, but because the government has just now appointed Vikram Dev Dutt, it's quite possible that it can extend by a few months more. Okay, so expected to be the last CMD from the government of Air India. Most of you, I think, do know about the takeover of the Air India by the Tatas. They had bid the highest amount. Read a little bit about what that deal is all about. Okay, so 2500 crores is the amount which Tatas will give to the government of India. The remaining amount, which is around 16,000 crores, is the debt of Air India that Tatas will be taking. So the deal is something around 18.5, 19,000 crore. Most of it is debt acquired by Air India over past few years. Okay, so read a little bit about it. It's important. Okay. Coming to the next question, question number 15. Which technology platform has launched Jagruk Voter campaign? This has been launched recently by a social media platform. Okay, I should not have said that. Now I think most of you can guess it correctly. Okay, the correct answer is Twitter. Some of you got it correct. Very good. Now, there are two, three interesting questions which I want all of you to think about, because if I go too much into detail into every question, एक घंटा और लग जाएगा, ठीक है? तो इतना नहीं करते. But one, of course, is that Jagruk voter. So voters should be aware of their rights. They should be aware of uh, the the way the assembly elections are being conducted. So this is primarily aimed at the assembly elections which are coming up. Okay, but it also has to do with a broader issue, which is the interference of these big social media companies into. Just give me a second. I think charge is about to get over. So it also has to do with big multinational companies interfering with the basic polity that occurs in a country, and it has been challenged a lot in the American election, especially the way Facebook, Twitter, and other social media companies were behaving. But it is a bigger issue which needs to be discussed even in India, and many people have started speaking about it, as to how the social media companies impact the selection of ordinary voters. Okay, so read a little bit about it, read what this campaign is all about, as I said, and you will get more info on it later on. Coming to 16th question. Which country recently launched formal free trade agreement negotiations with India? Now, this is something very, very important, because free trade agreements, India has been negotiating a lot of them, and they have great significance for India's exports also. So, which country are we talking about here? Okay, lot of mixed answers. I'm little surprised. I was hoping most of you will get this correct, but the correct answer is UK, United Kingdom. So after Brexit has happened, UK was constantly looking at India for a free trade agreement. Now the negotiations have begun. Which two people are negotiating? Who is negotiating from Indian side, and who is going to negotiate? The lead man and woman. Okay, that their names I do want you to research. So from India, who is going to be, who is the trade secretary in UK? That also name I want you to read about. Now, free trade agreements are one of the most complicated things that are negotiated between countries. Any kind of trade agreement, when it happens, it is extremely complicated and time consuming. We have been negotiating a free trade agreement with European Union also, but that has taken years after years, because no country would want to give up substantial market to the other country, and that is going to happen in these negotiations also, because India is very touchy about milk production, alcohol, dairy. These industries have grown exponentially in Australia, UK, and other countries. So what kind of market access to be given to the countries from the west in India, and then what kind of market will be opened for Indian companies in these countries? All of these things are to be balanced. So it's a very, very interesting topic. I want all of you to research a little bit about it. I will be creating a separate video on what free trade agreements are, and how India, Australia, India, UK, India, European Union free trade agreements will be negotiated. I'll make a separate video on that. But remember, the country is UK. Okay? Very good. So Vinayak has already answered the question. It is Piyush Goyal from the Indian side and Annie Pierre from the UK side. Okay, but read more. Coming to the last three questions. What is the objective of Clairvoyant, the AI based patented system launched recently in India? Clairvoyant, it also has the same meaning as that in English. Okay. Okay. So most of you answered mining cryptocurrencies, but the correct answer is water purification. Okay. So there is a company in India which is located in Noida. It's called Swajal Private Limited. Okay, and they have made an agreement with Indian Ministry of Science and Technology, Water Resources and Sanitation, under which the ministry will be funding, will be giving some funding to this company to look at AI based systems and solutions for this water issue that is prevalent in India. Okay, by 2024 the government of India has put up a target that uh, fresh water, clean water to be sent to every household in the country, which is a huge issue in India and has global significance because it impacts the sustainable development goals of the United Nations also. Okay, so it is a ambitious scheme, and companies like these, and this is a company which is run by past IITians, and they are looking into this issue. So read a little bit about it, what they are trying to do, how they are going to use AI to resolve some of the issues. In fact, they are doing really good work in and around Delhi and some states in the north. Read about it. If a question is asked, you should be able to answer. Okay. Coming to the next question, question number 18. Who had given the slogan Dilli Chalo? Who had given the slogan Dilli Chalo? Let's see how many of you get this correct. Very good. The correct answer is Subhash Chandra Bose. Why did I ask you a question on Subhash Chandra Bose? What is the current significance? Very good. 125th birth anniversary of Subhash Chandra Bose is today. Okay, it is the 125th birth anniversary of Subhash Chandra Bose today. What did the Prime Minister do today? Prime Minister has inaugurated something at 6 o'clock today in the evening. Are you aware of it? So a full-size bust of Subhash Chandra Bose will be inaugurated in Delhi, okay, and not at an insignificant place. It will be on Rajpath, okay, where the Amar Jawan Jyoti is located, where you have the war memorial. That is where this Murti will be located. As of now, it is under construction. So what the Prime Minister inaugurated today was some sort of technology which will showcase Subhash Chandra Bose's figure there for some time, and after that, of course, it will be replaced with a full-size bust. So remember this; it's important. Okay. So as Vinayak has said, he has inaugurated a hologram, which I was explaining you what it is. And that has been inaugurated today at 6 o'clock. Okay. Coming to the next question, last two questions. Indonesia has shifted its capital from Jakarta to which city? A lot of people were telling me about this in the chat section also. Right? And the picture that you see, right, that's the government building. Very good. It is the city of Nusantara. And around 40-45 billion dollars have been spent in this new capital in Indonesia. Criticized, and again a lot of things are happening there also. This particular government building which I was showing you, right, it is in the shape of a like Ramayana era bird which is very famous. Can you tell me the name? Any idea? Yeah, the eagle Purv. Are you aware that it's a character in Ramayana? It's Garud, right? So the entire island country of Indonesia, you will see all of these things prominently displayed. In fact, their main government building in the capital is going to be shaped as Garud. Okay, so read about it. Very, very interesting stuff. Coming to the last question for today, let's see who is the Quizzard. After the 20th question, Which country is not a part of Collective Security Treaty Organization? Which country here is not a part of Collective Security Treaty Organization? Okay. The correct answer is Ukraine. Ukraine is not part of Collective Security Treaty Organization. And why did I ask you this question? Because this entire organization is in news currently. There are huge protests which were going on in Kazakhstan for a very long time. Government buildings were burned down. In the history of Kazakhstan, such things had not happened. Okay. Then what did Kazakhstan do? Kazakhstan invited forces from the Collective Security Treaty Organization to take care of these riots because they couldn't handle it. So forces from Russia and countries which are part of Collective Security Treaty Organization, they came to Kazakhstan and handled the situation there. And this happened in the last 1 or 2 weeks. So just imagine how important it is, right? Shore is correct, in the city of Almaty. So these things are happening all across the world. I want you to put an eye into all these things, because if a question comes, some people will not be able to make sense कि अरे collective security treaty organization क्यों पूछ लिया एकदम से, इसका क्या significance था, right? But it is in news for the past 2 weeks. Okay, so wonderful job all the students, excellent work. I think most of you were able to answer most amount of questions that I've asked today. Any guesses who will be the Quizzard for today and will be winning the 1000 rupee Amazon voucher? And Mohawk is correct. All we know about Kazakhstan is Borat, right? But you should read more. So let's see, without wasting any more time, who is the Quizzard for today? Excellent work, Shlaka. In fact, I think Shlaka had won the last Quizzard also, and also had taken home 1000 rupee Amazon voucher. So excellent work. Please get in touch with me on Telegram. We have spoken before, so please get in touch with me and we'll process it in this week itself. Congratulations to all the students, including Riddhi, Sanskar, Sachetan, Vinayak, Swasti, Shaurya, Anu, Shruti, Taha. Very good work. And I hope from now on you will pay more attention to GK current affairs. It's very important for all of you. And next Sunday, I'll meet you again with another edition of Quizzard and another 1000 rupee Amazon voucher. So let's see who wins it next week. It should be somebody else, because it can't be that same person keeps on winning. Okay, so work hard, and I want to see somebody else winning the next Quizzard next Sunday. Congratulations again, Shlaka, and we'll meet again next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.